What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football and Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer, Logan Landers. Join me here today to talk about one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best players in the 2025 NFL Draft, Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami, breaking him down, talking about his strengths, his weaknesses, and most importantly, where we think he's going to end in the 2025 draft, who's going to pick up his talents and hopefully get the next franchise quarterback. Help me out today is Brian LaBelle. Brian, how you doing on this Tuesday afternoon? And let's get into it, man. Cam Ward, a lot of hype around this guy. What did you like about him at the U this past season and before?
It's hard to like that he had the number one QBR in the nation. It's hard to like that he was the quarterback on the best offense in the country. It's hard to like that he took a Miami team that realistically, at least on the defensive side, had no business being in a playoff conversation or a national championship conversation at all. And he just led him to prominence, led a team that probably should have had 5 or 6 wins. If you really replace him with any other portal guy, Miami's a middle of the pack team. And they were competitive all season. I mean, he did nothing but produce. 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 4,300 yards. I mean, it's, the report out of Miami too, a lot of the guys, he's a film junkie. He's a guy that loves the game, it's kind of refreshing to see for these younger guys, you're not partying. You're not out there having fun all the time. You're not out here chasing portal money just for the heck of it. He wants to be a really good player. And you could see that on film. He strives for it. He did nothing but produce. I mean, there's nothing you can't really discredit about Cam Ward. He's a great player, and any team that gets him is probably going to be really lucky to have him as their quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, we've seen just how impressive Cam Ward has been. A guy who, he's just super impressive, right? Played a ton of college football. Started off in the FCS route, for God's sake. Someone who just rose through the ranks. We see where he's at now, right? He was a Heisman candidate, and now he's going to be top 1, top 2, top 3 pick in the draft, just depending on where all the cards land. A guy who's just insanely gifted. Like you said, elevated this Miami team to a very long undefeated streak. They kind of fell apart at the end there, but no one thought Miami would be where they were for the most part this season, and that's thanks to him. And how well he did for the Hurricanes this past year. But, I mean, what's not to like about him, right? 6'2", 223, good size on him. He's obviously got a tremendous arm, as you said, with his stats there. It's just he feels like a leader already. Like you said, he's always watching film. He looks like he's commanding that team. He doesn't like he's unsure. He doesn't like he second guesses himself. He's confident in his ability and his teammates, which is what you love to see. I mean, you saw how well he did this past year. And obviously, a lot of the draft scouts think so as well, with him being projected as high as he is. But, I mean, the real question, though, Brian, is where does he go? I mean, we'll just go to the top 5 teams, right? We'll just cut it down to that because every team wants him. But number one, you're Tennessee. They finished 3-14. They're going to be picking number 1. And the interesting thing and why I think he could go very easily to Tennessee, they don't have a GM at the moment. So whoever they hire, whoever that may be, they're going to want to make a big splash. They're going to want to reset their franchise because, look, Will Levis didn't get it done. I mean, you saw more memes of him on Twitter, of him flailing around than he did
every
positive
week.
Plays. So I think that they're going to end that experiment a little bit early and move him into a backup role. It's a very real chance he'll go here. Number 2 is the Cleveland Browns. An interesting situation. So we just saw a couple of days ago that for Deshaun Watson, his season's pretty much over before it even started. The 2024 season's not even over, and he's already going to be out pretty much for all of 25. He re-ruptured his Achilles, and, I mean, let's just be realistic here, probably the worst contract in all of football. So that's a lot of money you're eating there for this year for him to not even play. So very realistically, you could have Cam Ward take over as the next quarterback for Cleveland. Number 3, the New York Giants. Also a team that finished 3-14, but we were talking about it before we went on. Drew Lock really just kind of just messed up their chances at being number 1. We saw Shedeur Sanders wearing the Giants cleats in their bowl game. He very well could wind up there still at number 3. but I think Cam Ward has a really good chance of going there, really anywhere in the top 3. Number 4, I don't think they would go in a quarterback route just yet, and that's New England with the Patriots. We just saw they hired Mike Vrabel the other day. But I mean, let's not forget though, they just drafted Drake May. So I don't think they're going to pull the plug on him quite yet. Like I say, he didn't set the world on fire. He wasn't, rookie. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year or any honors like that. But I think that they'll give him a little bit more time to develop before they pull the plug on that. And then number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think they're going to go with a quarterback. Like I said, they have Trevor Lawrence, who was hurt. But I don't think they're going to go with a Cam Ward route and get rid of Lawrence. I don't see that quite yet. Maybe next year or something, but not for this season. So out of all those 5 teams there, Brian, do you think he goes number 1 to Tennessee, number 2 to Cleveland, or realistically maybe number 3 to New England, or excuse me, New York? Those are the top 3 picks. Where do you think he'll land?
It's really, really hard to see him going past New York at 3. I think Giants faithful would be celebrating. I wouldn't be dancing out in the streets, but I think there'll be a lot of fist pumps, whatever, if he's not a top 2 pick. Just because, especially if you're a QB needy team, your options are potentially, other than drafting a rookie quarterback, is maybe trading for Kirk Cousins, maybe signing Sam Darnold. I mean, there's not a lot of options at quarterback. I think Cam is really, really talented. I think what adds to his value is there's not a lot of options out there if you need a guy that can come in and help your football team and add a spark right now. I think it's hard to see him going past 1 with Tennessee because it's how many different plays you saw Will Levis. It's almost like Three Stooges, like comical, some of the stuff that happened and how many different plays that he didn't make that he could have made. It's entertaining, but man, if we had a guy that could make this throw, we had a guy that could do this, and if we had a guy that could maybe spread the ball around a little more, because that division is still pretty weak. I mean, the Jaguars are right up there too. The Colts, who knows what they're doing at quarterback? I mean, other than the Texans, who they had a drop off too. A lot of people are critiquing CJ Stroud in year 2, but it's really hard to see him going past number 1. I don't think he is maybe the most talented guy in the draft, but I think based on his position, based on what he brings to the table, I think he's the most valuable player in the draft.
A guy who started out of high school, only attempted 12 passes a game at Columbia High School, then went to the University of the Incarnate World in his only scholarship offer, balled out there, went to Washington State also for a season, did well there, and then he graduated from Washington, and then he said, all right, I got one more season to really kind of up my worth here, and then he went to Miami, and we saw what he did. And how impressive he was. So, I mean, just the rise for him to even get drafted went out, 4 or 5 years ago. He only got 1 scholarship offer from Incarnate World. I mean, there's going to be a movie on this guy, maybe, just with how the rise he's had through the collegiate ranks. I think he'll go number 1. I think he'll go to Tennessee. I think that it's a battle between him and probably Travis Hunter. It just depends. But I think that Tennessee is in desperate need of a quarterback as opposed to anything else. And Travis Hunter, I don't know if they're going to have him be a 2-way player in the NFL. I don't know. I mean, that's up for the GM and for the coach to decide. I don't know if they're going to have him be a receiver or a corner. I don't know. It's too early to tell. But if you need a quarterback, and let's be real, the Titans need a quarterback. I think you go with him. He's a solid pick. Just got to have weapons around him. Just build in free agency, build in the draft even also. If you're Tennessee, just give him some weapons to work with. Give him an O-line also, because we saw, Caleb Williams got picked number 1, but he got sacked how many times because of just bad O-line? Because if you don't have someone to protect him, if you don't have someone to get open, there's no point in drafting a quarterback because it's just going to be a lot of rough years on them. So you got to help him out. But I think that he would fit well in Tennessee. Like I said, they don't have a GM. Whoever it is, whoever they hire, is going to want to make a splash, I'm sure. And I think Cam Ward would be a solid selection. So I do think, Brian, I think he'll go number 1 to Tennessee, but I don't see him dropping out of the top 3. If he does, then something has to be going wrong.
Something behind the scenes.
It's something behind the scenes for sure. But Cam Ward, like I said, we could talk about him for hours and hours, but he's got the arm talent, he's got the speed, he reads the ball really well. And look, the whole narrative around him subbing himself out, the halftime of the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Look, the fact he even played in that, I was impressed by.
Yep.
Because, I mean, we've seen how many players that were projected, not just number 1 picks, but first-round picks, not even play in bowl games of that stature. So the fact he even played, I thought was a good check on his part. I'm not upset. Look, end of the day, I don't think Cam Ward cares if they win or lose the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Right.
So it is what it is. I'm not putting that as a negative. I know some people will, but hey, it's just to get talking points and get clicks. But I think that overall, Cam Ward is going to be a great pick for whoever gets him, and he's going to do some good work. Brian, your final thoughts here before we wrap things up today.
I think he's the poster boy of what the portal is supposed to be. You know, where you play really well and you're able to move up each year and kind of progress and get better and better. And then, you know, it's not just all about chasing NIL money. It's about, hey, I know I'm better than this. Let me show you here, and then let me show you a little bit better next year, and obviously so on and so forth. Because realistically, if he had another year of eligibility or if he was going to stay, I mean, a team like Georgia, a team like, you know, LSU, maybe Ohio State, they'd be backing up the Brinks truck for him. You know, I mean, he would be probably the top portal guy. Yep. But what he did, I mean, there's nothing really to hate about his game. He doesn't run a ton, but he's mobile. He can move out of the pocket. He can use his legs, but it's awesome that he's a pure pocket guy that can run, but he loves staying in the pocket and picking defenses apart. And like you said, I think he's the best player just off his value. I think he goes number 1 overall too. And it'd be hard. I mean, if the Titans don't, I don't know. It'd be hard to overlook this guy.
From Incarnate World to our belief of number 1 overall pick. What a story. And it's only just getting started for Cam Ward. Excited to see where he's going to go and how he's going to produce in the league. Hey, Brian LaBelle, appreciate you, my man, coming on the show and talking about all the players we've talked about today. Jalen Walker, Jalen Royals, and, of course, Cam Ward. Go check out those other 2 videos on our channel, Facebook and YouTube. And also, if you'd like to go and check out our podcast, it's just audio versions of all of our shows here. You can check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, anywhere you enjoy our shows each and every single week. Once again, for Brian LaBelle, my co-host today, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, until next time, we'll see you again on another live draft episode. We'll